This is Whittier Elementary School. This is a recording for the Maria Rogers Oral History Program, the Carnegie Branch Library for Local History. These are the Whittier School historians, and we're very, very proud to have them here this morning to add to the local history program. Thank you. Today is May 9th, 2001. My name is Hope Perry.
Hi, I'm Polly McDonald. I'm Secretary and Historian of Whittier Elementary. I worked with historians for about the last 10 years. These historians here today are from last school year and this school year. And I've done the history for about 17 years. I'm going to have each of the historians say their name and their grade and a little bit of what they remember in History Club, if they would like. Thank you.
My name is Kayla Patterson, and I'm in 5th grade in Laura Wentworth's class. And I'm going to talk about Art Source International, and we went there as a field trip to see how they make frames for our pictures in the hallway and stuff like that.
My name's Sierra Bernal, and I'm in 5th grade in Lisa Blumenthal's class. I wanted to talk about that my grandmother, my great-grandmother was here, my grandmother, my uncle, my dad, my brother, and my uncle, my other uncle, and me.
Hi, my name is Amber Rose. I'm in 5th grade and in Laura Whitmore's class. And I'm going to talk about Hotel Boulder. We went there for a field trip, and we went in the old-fashioned elevator, and we saw some rooms.
Hello, my name is Kyle Wilshusen, and I'm in 5th grade, and I would like to talk about that the school was founded in 1882, and the first classes started in 1883.
My name is Randy Rodriguez, and I'm in 5th grade, Greg Yeager's class, and I had a lot of fun in history club.
Hi, my name is Bo Parks. I'm in 5th grade, and I'm in Craig Lager's class, and I'm going to talk about the computer lab. It was named after Arthur Ridgway. He was a principal here, and he was father of Fran Bascom.
My name is Katie Keener. I'm in 5th grade in Craig Yeager's class. I'm going to talk about the original structure of Whittier School. It was 4 rooms, which are now the computer lab, Laura Wentworth's 4th and 5th grade room, Jill Wood's 2nd and 3rd grade room, and the kindergarten enrichment class.
My name is Samantha Kaplan, and I'm in 5th grade, and I'm in Lisa Blumenthal's class. And I just wanted to say that last year in History Club, it was a really fun experience because we got to go to a lot of old museums and all those places, and it was very fun.
My name is Yuyan, and I'm in 5th grade in Miss Wentworth.
Say your name, honey.
I'm Samantha, and I'm in 4th grade, Craig Yeager's class, and I thought the historians was really fun, and I'm looking up to the pizza party.
Okay, my name is Maggie Powell. I'm in the 5th grade. I go to Mapleton School, and I thought historians was really fun.
Here we go. No, it's heavy.
No. That's okay.
Hi, my name is Shelby Hunt, and I'm in Laura Wentworth's class, and I wanted to talk about Fran Bascom.
She went here to 1920 to 1926, and her father was principal in 1902 to 1923, 4. Her mom was music teacher from 1923 from 19.
She was just here 1 year.
Oh yeah, she was just here 1 year. Her son went here. His name was Phil, and the historians, went on a field trip to go visit her at her house, and that's it. My name is Seyeon, and I am Lisa Blumenthal's class, right? And I am 4th grade. And in historian, we walk and we ate lunch a lot, and it was very fun. My name is Eun-Gil-seo, and I am from Lisa Blumenthal's class. I am 4th grade, and the Whittier was very oldest school in the world.
My name's Haley from Lisa Blumenthal's class. What? And we went on a field trip to the Heritage Center, and it was really fun.
Thank you so much, historians. I'm very proud to have heard your story. Thank you. This is Hope Perry. It's May 9th, 2001. This is a recording from Whittier School, 1st grade, Cindy Bigelow's class and Barb Cochio's class, for the Maria Rogers Oral History Program, the Carnegie Branch Library for Local History. We have Fran Bascom, who went to school here, and Polly McDonald, school secretary.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Today, Fran Bascom and I are going to talk to you about history, and Fran will talk to you about memories. And my name is Polly McDonald, by the way, secretary and historian of the school. Fran, I'm going to tell you a little bit about her family, and then I'll talk into history. Her family has lived in the neighborhood and has helped Whittier for the past century. That's like 100 years they've been helping Whittier. Fran went to school here in 1920 to 26. Her father was principal here in 1902 to 1924. Her mother taught music here in 1923, and her son went to school here in 1940s. And Fran has volunteered in the library for many years until automation came in. And we still get Fran here, but not in the library. And she helped with the Boulder Valley Foundation, getting it started, and she also contributes money every year to our nice school. And the computer lab is named after Arthur Ridgway, who is her father. We were the 3rd school built in Boulder. The first school was a little wooden schoolhouse at 15th and Walnut. It was called Pioneer School. And then it was built in 1860, but in 1872, Central Building, which is a stone and brick building, was built in its place at the same location, down by the post office downtown. And later it became the administration building, and then it was tore down. Whittier then came, and we are the oldest school in Colorado with continuous operation. At that time, when we started building, this school was called Pine Street School. And they started building it on July 4th, 1882. And the first classes were held in January of 1883. Beginning teachers, you know what they made a month? $60 a month back then. This school, the original building, which is up, you know where the computer lab is?
Yeah.
And Laura Wentworth's class, and kindergarten enrichment, and Joe Wood's class. They're all in the old part of the building in Title I. And the building cost $8,000 plus the coal furnace. And the furnace, later we got other type of heat, and right now where the furnace is, there's a time capsule. And the time capsule was put in 1982, and it'll be open in 1932. So you can figure out how old you are when it's open. I'll be 90 years old when they open the capsule. You'll probably be late 30s or in your 40s maybe.
How old are you?
59. Yeah.
Whoa.
You know how old this school was when you were probably born? This school was already 112 years old when you were born. You know, at the beginning, there was no indoor restrooms either. The first restrooms came in 22 years after they built it. So you had to go use an outdoor toilet. And it came in 1904. The first phones, there wasn't many schools back then, but the first phones didn't come in until 1902. And so if you need to talk to somebody, you need to go to where they were, because there was no communication on telephones. In I don't know if you know Mark Twain. He writes Huckleberry Finn, Tom Sawyer.
I kind of
Do you kind of know him?
heard of
Mississippi River Stories.
I've heard of
His third cousin, Clara Clemens Webster, was principal here in 1893 and 1894, and her picture's in the office. So that's kind of nice. We had somebody here that was related to somebody famous. In 1886, on John Greenleaf Whittier's 79th birthday, December 17th, sixth grade, Mr. Casey would read poetry to the students, and they liked John Greenleaf's poetry that he wrote. And so they wrote Greenleaf Whittier a letter, and he responded within 12 days. And in 1903, we changed the name from Pine Street School to Whittier Elementary. Okay, and we have 3 rooms that are named after people in the building. The computer lab is named after Fran Bascom's father, Arthur Ridgway, and he's got a picture and a little plaque up in the room. The library is named after Jessie Fitzpatrick, and you'll see her picture outside of the library. And she was principal from 1924, right after Arthur Ridgway, till 1946. But she was also a teacher here when Fran's father was here with him, and then she became the principal. We've had several additions. The first addition, like I told you, were those rooms right at the front of the school off of Pine Street. Was the original building. Then from the archway back to the teacher parking lot, that was built in 1916. That was the first addition. The second addition is where we're sitting right now, the annex here, with kindergarten and first grade rooms and the gym, was built in 1950. And then the third addition was the library, because the library used to be where my office is now, and I was upstairs. And the library, we built it at the 100th celebration in 1982, the new library. And the other room that was named after somebody I forgot to tell you was the gymnasium, where we have PE and lunch and everything. And it was named after a custodian that was here from 1933 to 54, William Charles Julian. And you'll see his picture there too, so try to take notice, okay? And the first secretary here, because I'm not the first, was Corky Christian. She's still living. She was secretary here from 1956 to 76. She's a good friend of mine. And I came in 79, and I've been here ever since. Out of 45 years of having secretary here, we have covered 43, so the turnover is not very good in secretarials here. So that's a lot of years that Corky and I did. There was 2 secretaries that were right between us those 3 years, and that was it. Do you have a question, Rebecca?
How many years old were you when you came to be on the school?
Come here? I was about 37, I think, then, because this is my 22nd year here. Okay, quick one so we can move on.
How old is Fran?
I'm 86.
Do you know what? She has a birthday this month May 24th. So
That's
how
my
old were?
birthday.
Is that your birthday? Oh.
Well,
Our video person also has a birthday on May 24th.
but I beat her in age.
So, but Fran's family's been with us this whole century. And she's still helping out, and she still comes back and gives the classroom talks and everything with me.
I still live in the same house.
Yeah. Then in 1990, the little portable building out there where ESL is right now?
Yeah.
We got that building in 1990. And then we have an outdoor classroom, and the outdoor classroom we got from a grant. We had to move the sandbox over, and the outdoor classroom came in 1998.
The big snakes.
Yeah. Do you know that Whittier is a landmark, the Boulder landmark?
No.
And Charlotte Coburn's uncle was on the landmarks board. Bill Coburn? Yes, your uncle was on the landmarks board when we went there and talked. We had some students that were historians. We had Fran. I took Fran with me. We had Mr. Christie and myself. And we just all gave our little speeches to the landmarks board. And then they made a recommendation. They have to make a recommendation that it goes to council, city council. So we all went to there on that date, and we gave our little speeches again, and we became landmark on August 19th, 1997. So in May of 98, during Preservation Week, we threw a big party to celebrate and unveil the plaque. And that was really a lot of fun. I'm going to let Fran talk to you now a little bit about her family and memories, and then we'll take questions after that, okay? Thank you.
I have a short memory. Well, all I remember is as a child, growing up, before I ever started Whittier, I used to come down here with my dad on his bike, and I rode up on the handlebars. And he'd come down here. It was usually a Saturday because he was coming down to check the school to see everything was okay. He was principal down here. And while that was going on, I'd slide down the banister from the 7th floor down to the 1st floor. I had a good time. It was Saturday, nobody told me I couldn't. When I started,
now, guys?
Hmm?
Can you slide down now?
No.
I don't think I could either.
She just did it.
But at that point, I did it, and then I asked Dad, and he said, well, he guessed it would be all right, since it wasn't a school day. So I went ahead and slid down the place. I also slid down the slide one day, and I missed. I missed at the top of the slide, and I wound up on the ground with a broken arm. I came in, and my dad looked at me, and he said, what'd you do? I said, I don't know, but it hurts. He looked at it.
When
And
they had that big, tall slide?
yes, it was right after they put it in. Sure, that's when I had to try it out. And I made the mistake of deciding it was going to be a long, fast slide, and I grabbed for the sides and I only caught one side. And it flipped me over the side of the thing, and down I went. And I landed on the right arm, and it broke. So I had a broken arm for a bit. That didn't stop me. I was back on the slide in 2 days. So I guess it was all right. But those are some of the things that I remember about this school. I also remember that we thought, a pretty good school at that time. It had good classes. They allowed us to go, and it was fun. But I think that that's about all I have to say.
Okay. Do you want to talk about your pencil story?
When I was in high school, No, when I was in, I don't know, high school, junior high. I was in 4th grade. Somewhere around there. At any rate, I had skipped the grade ahead of that. It was the 3rd grade. And after skipping the 3rd grade, I was in the 4th grade, and they had a ruling in there that you didn't keep the pencil in your hand if you wanted to get the teacher's attention. But I hadn't heard that, or at least I didn't remember it if I had. And so I had a pencil in my hand, and up went my hand, and the pencil went out of my hand and into her lap. And I knew that wasn't right, but it was done. So I had to learn the hard way. I went up and apologized for throwing a pencil at her. And I told my folks about it. My dad eyes opened a little and then closed them. He didn't say anything. But Mother had a few things to comment on. She was a teacher at Casey Junior High and music teacher. And, you know, that made a big impression on me because I don't think I ever had anything in my hand if I ever raised it to ask a question after that. At least I had a sense enough to put the pencil down. Yeah.
Questions?
How old is this school now?
This school is about 119 years old this fall.
Yeah.
So see, whatever your age is now, subtracted from 119, so it was at least 112 years older than you are. Any other questions? Okay. Kai.
How did the pencil go out of her hand? I just don't get it.
You know,
I just don't know how.
if I were to pick up a piece of chalk here, when you put your hand up and you want to get attention, see what happens?
Oh, you let go?
Uh-huh.
She let
The
go.
pencil was here, and I put my hand up, but I, you know,
And the chalk went.
and the chalk went.
And it's kind of a flick.
That's right.
Yeah.
It was kind of a
Like
flick.
this?
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, I do want to mention that the gal filming us, her granddaughter's in the class, Jessica Rick Perry. Her grandmother's doing the videotape for us. Okay? Thank you.
I have a question.
Okay.
Yes.
I know times have changed as far as discipline in schools. What was the discipline back then if a child misbehaved?
Well, we all had a pretty good idea of where the office was,
Uh-huh.
the head office. And we also knew that if the whole class misbehaved, and I happened to be in a class that had a tendency to get into trouble, the whole class would have to go stand in the hall. If ever the teacher went out to go down to the main office, the students were never left in class. They had to go out and stand in the hall. And we even found trouble out there, I might add. But at any rate, we had a good time. We enjoyed school. We liked our teachers. We had, when we got to the 6th grade, 8th grade, 7th grade, 6th grade, because they had just opened the junior high. When we got into 6th grade, we were supposed to be adult. Well, that's ridiculous. You're not adults when you're in the 6th grade. You may think you are, but you're not. But at any rate, we got into more trouble probably than a lot of the kids did. But one of the things that happened was that we had to be reminded a good many times during the year not to put your hand up to ask for attention if you had anything in that hand, because it got thrown. You see, you'd say, oh, up it'd go, and if you had a pencil in your hand, the pencil would go.
Riley, do you have a question? Okay.
I have a
Yes.
question.
Yeah.
Do you remember some of the things you studied? Like some
Sure.
special things you studied? Like we're studying about Japan right now, and we're studying about Mexico. We've learned about families.
Well, I don't think we did as much of that, but we did quite a little bit. Part of the thing was, I went to school, I was born in 1914, and in 1920, I was in grade school. All right, that was right after we had been in the war, and we had a lot of the service people coming home, and so our life was really geared pretty much to hallelujah, the soldiers are coming home, and it's a great time to be living. And I think that for that reason we had a good feeling in the school, because it was, the teachers sure appeared to be that way. I knew more from that standpoint because my dad was principal of the school here, and he was a good principal. The teachers liked him, the kids liked him, and I think that made a big difference all over.
Fran, for many years, she did her student teaching here and in the PE department, and she taught PE, physical education at CU for about 32 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, 32 years. And so some of your parents or somebody may have seen her up there when she was teaching. Grandparents may have had her if they went to CU and had physical education.
Yep. Especially if they liked square dance.
You had them square dance again.
I call square dances all over this part of the country.
Oh, really?
Oh, I love square dancing.
Were you ever in a square dance club?
Oh, yeah. We had a club that actually we danced all over the state. And out of the state a couple times.
Well, maybe we can have you come and be our square dance caller if we have a dance.
I can still do it.
You can even be somebody's partner there.
That may be hard. I don't move that fast anymore.
Okay. Are there any more questions before we leave you today? It's been really fun.
Has
Okay,
been
do you
fun.
have another question?
What do you mean by over the state square dance?
Square dance? You know what square dance is?
You know what a folk dance is?
Let Fran explain it. That was fun.
Well, if I had 8 of you, 4 girls and 4 boys, and you were paired up, couple, around a square, that's what a square dance is. And we do a dance in that
Within the
formation.
square. Yeah.
And the caller marks out the directions. So I might say, all join hands and circle to the left. Let's see, element left with your left hand to right to your partner and right left grand. Hand over hand, heel over heel, the more you
She's
dance, the
hired.
better you feel.
All we need to do is give her a mic.
Yeah, I could go, I think I could still do it. I might have to stop. I might have a few different words than I had before, but it would come back. Because once you begin calling, you don't ever really forget it.
Yes.
And I called all over the state.
What country does square dancing originally come from?
Actually, it evolved out of the country dance, the round dance. And then instead of being in a round formation, the couples just squared off so that you had a square formation. And then the directions were given many times to the first couple out, or the second couple out, or the third couple out, or the fourth couple out, or all join hands and circle to the left. Then you did an allemande left and a right left grand. You went around the circle and got back to your home position. Then they'd take first couple out to the couple on the right and circle 4 with them. And then they'd come back and then they go out and do something. And the caller tells the group what to do. And the idea is to listen so that you hear what the call is, and then you do it. And of course, if you don't do it according to the call, you create a bit of havoc. Sometimes you wind up with everybody missing, and it's kind of fun at that. But I did a lot of calling.
Well, any more questions?
It's
Fran,
been great having everybody here
Yes,
and
you've been wonderful.
talking to the class.
Thank you.
We enjoy having you join us.
Thank you.
It's good to come back.
Yes, it is.
I've never really left this place.
No, I keep pulling her back, and she's right there to come.
Well, you know, I only live 4 blocks from here, so it isn't very far to come.
You might have to go visit her house.
We did
A
once.
few of them have.
We
I don't
took-
know whether there's anybody in here, but I've had a whole class at the house.
We took the whole school to her house one time for her birthday.
And I wasn't
We
there.
thought she's going to be there, and she wasn't.
I wasn't there.
So we all sang this happy birthday to the house, and we all sang the school song, and the neighbors all heard us.
And
we
they
went
all
back.
told me.
And I called to find out where Fran was. I was worried about her. But she was okay. She just wasn't home.
I was out gallivanting. I don't know, I was someplace
Do
in
you guys
town.
know the Whittier song? Have you learned it in music?
Okay.
Do you think you could sing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
We are the Wildcats, give us a cheer. We're gonna show you that Whittier is here. We're the red, white, and blue. We are the Wildcats, how about you? We have the strength and we have the pride. Go Cats, Wildcats, we're on your side. We have lived second to none. We are Wildcats, we're number 1.
Well, good.
Very good.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
good.
you so much.
Thank you, thank you.
Hi, this is continuation of the Whittier School interview with Polly McDonald, the secretary, from the Maria Rogers Oral History Program, the Oral History of Boulder. I'm Hope Perry. It's May 10th, 2001, and this is Polly.
Hi, I'm Polly. I'm the school secretary and historian. I've worked on the history for 17 years and had the kids involved for about the last 10. This is Whittier Elementary, and we're looking at the original building from the outside right now. It was built in 1882 and the first classes started in 1883. In 1997, August 19th, we became a landmark, and we have our little plaque over here on the school, and we threw a party during Preservation Week to unveil the plaque. And the historians, myself, Mr. Christie, and Fran Bascom all went down and gave our little speeches to Landmarks Board and to the City Council before we became landmarked. Okay, I think we'll walk inside in just a part of the building. And the mural on the wall was actually put up by Harriet Towers' 6th grade class, and it was finished in April 25th, 1941. Right here we have a plaque that we put in at the 100th celebration. Originally it was the old coal furnace, the plaque. And the plaque will be open in 2032. And I'm going to be here, I'll be 90, but I'm going to be here to see it opened. The classrooms that we have here we have a 2nd, 3rd grade combination class in this room, and then we have a kindergarten enrichment class in this room. Excuse me. If you want to peek in. That's kindergarten enrichment. Okay, the kindergarten enrichment is a program that enhances kindergarten
and they work on more field trips, and they usually work on social skills, and there's some instructional things that they do in here. They have centers. It looks like they made little ladybugs up here and little ducks on the wall with paper plates. And this allows the kindergarten to come a full day rather than a half day, and it really helps the parents at work. Okay, this year we have 2 second, third grade classrooms, and they work very close together. Next year we will have just straight 2s and straight 3 classes for next year. And these are all the oldest part of the building still, since 1882.
Notice the high windows
Yes.
and the high ceilings. They're very high. They look to be around 20 feet high.
Right. And we're working on being an international baccalaureate school, and so you'll see on the wall up here some of the different things we're working with on students to help them become knowledgeable, risk takers, thinkers, reflective, caring, open-minded, communicators, well-balanced, principled, inquirers, many attitudes that they work on.
Are the other schools in Boulder also teaching those character traits?
The other school, there's no other elementary school doing the IB program. They are, there's the high school, Fairview has an IB program. We do have some in Fort Collins that some of our teachers will be visiting, and there's some in Colorado Springs that we know about. Teachers are being trained, going to other countries to be trained in the IB program, and in a couple of years they'll probably send the team out about then, and we have to be well in the progress of IB, and they will either authorize us or not, but I think we're going real well on it.
And that's International Baccalaureate?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, this year, and that we thought were really nice, and Art Source International did the framing. They do my antique framing also, but they did the 3 of these that we thought was really nice that the kids did. I especially like this one right over here with the schoolhouse. Okay. Nice photographs.
Very nice.
They're going to start putting more and more up the side here. We're still in the old part of the school.
Our next scheduled launch is Saturday.
At the top of the stairs, we're still in the old part. We're going to go into the computer lab.
Unfortunately, I will not be
The computer lab, it's in the curriculum for 4th and 5th grade, but the other classes can come up and use it. This room is named after Arthur Ridgway, and he was principal here from 1902 to 24. His daughter, Fran Bascom, is my senior historian and helps me a lot with, and she'll be on this video too, and there's a little plaque for Arthur Ridgway. Fran has donated a lot of money toward computer equipment and some other things at Whittier. Still the oldest part is a 4th, 5th combination class, and we're going to stay 4th, 5th next year. We have 3 4th, 5th grade classrooms, and they work very close together, and they're a great team.
Wasn't this selected by USA Magazine newspaper as one of the outstanding 5th grades in the United States?
Yeah, we'll be going into the 2 classrooms where the teachers won the USA Today All-American Teaching Team.
Okay.
That was Lisa Blumenthal and Craig Yeager.
Okay. 1960.
This first edition that we're in now was built in 1916. And in this room, we have a 4th, 5th combination taught by Craig Yeager. He's not here today. This is Gordy, his student teacher. And they work very close. Craig and Lisa are the ones that won the USA Today All-American Teaching Team. Craig has also won several years back the Reader's Digest American Hero Teacher.
Wow.
So he's had several awards. And Gordy, I'm sure, will get there and probably get some awards once he gets going. The USA Today All-American Teaching Team, along with Craig Yeager. And I'm not Craig, but he's not here today, so
This is what we do. We just stand around and smile and...
they're a great team. All three classes working together are really great. Do you want to say anything about the 4th, 5th, or IB that I
Well,
maybe didn't
yeah,
pick up?
this is our first year doing 4 or 5 combo classes, and we found that it's a really great way to teach and that the kids really learn a lot from each other. And it's going to be really interesting to follow this through the second year. It'll be the first time we've done this. And we found that it's really enhanced what we're trying to do with the IB program, which is to create students that have a lot of empathy and compassion for each other and understanding of each other, and to have them in a situation where they're with different kinds of people instead of just kids all their same age. It's more like the real world, you know. And we're having a lot of fun this year doing this for the first time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome to look at my room.
Do you want to come through? And then we'll go out the other door. But this is Lisa Blumenthal's room. They call themselves the flock. Lisa is the mallards, Craig is the geese, and Laura's the cranes. And so you will see, and we also saw in Craig's room the cows. He likes cows too, but you'll see some mallards in here. Lisa always plays the piano and the cello, and very talented, and Craig plays the guitar, and they're great people.
Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'm going to take you upstairs. This is our special ed resource room, where we help students with anything that are staffed in here and any subject they can be helped with. And they come up here. Originally, when I first started in '79, this was my office. I like to show people this restroom. It's the best in Boulder. It's got quite a view. And sometimes you come up here and you just don't want to go back down to work because it is so pretty. You can see, let's see, we can see NCAR up there. Probably some of CU. The mountains, Flatirons. But it's got a really neat view, and I don't think there's any other restroom that looks this great. Okay. That extends all the way to the front. There's a ladder that goes up to the bells up there. And Whittier didn't have restrooms until 1904, and there's a picture over here. The kids think this is probably what the restroom looked like before 1904. Phones did not come in until 1902. So I'm not sure if this is a picture of it, but we think it is.
Do you suppose there's any treasures up here?
Well, we store things up here, and we know there's bats.
Oh my.
I don't know if you call them treasures or not, but there's probably a little bit of mice and bats and mice, and I don't know if there's spiders or anything, but I know the bats and neighbors see them fly out.
Okay.
Okay, go down a couple of more steps so where we can see the mirror, or we can see them from down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk about this and then go through the office on a couple of things.
Okay.
Okay. In this hallway, we're still in the part that was built in 1916. We have a 2nd, 3rd grade combination class in this room. And Lindsay Hansen over there is the teacher.
Hello.
And as I mentioned, next year we'll have straight 2nd and straight 3rd classes.
Nice to meet you.
In the hallway here, there's a mural on the wall. It's got a 1st grade teacher, Cindy Bigelow. It was done by Michael Woljak on May 23rd, 1995. And then I'm beside Cindy up there. And then Fran Bascom, who is my senior historian and has a whole century of family being here and working here, she's holding her father's picture, Arthur Ridgway. Over here we have William Casey riding his bike to school. And he was principal here in the early 1800s. And then we have John Greenleaf Whittier with a couple of lines from his Snowbound poem, which was very famous. And then the far picture is of some students that are no longer here, but from different ethnic backgrounds.
The original building, I don't think I mentioned, was called Pine Street School. And until 1886, when Casey, that's up here, read poetry to the 6th grade class, they really liked his poetry, and they wrote John Greenleaf Whittier on his birthday, 79th birthday, on December 17th. The showcase here in front of us, the History Club bought it about a year ago last summer. And it used to be an old cigar tobacco case, but it's a lot of glass, and I love displaying some of Whittier's, John Greenleaf Whittier's poetry and some old tools, and then the house he lived in. And the postcards show some of the rooms that were in his house. The benches on either side we just recently purchased. I purchased 4 of them, but right now we just have 2 here. We're unfinished. We took them home, and my husband helped put them together and finished them up. We try to make it look very nice in our hallways, putting plants. And we have an informational table for parents that they can pick up some brochures. Okay, we're going to go through my office area and see a few more things and then back out. This is the health room that the students come to, that it's real close to us so we can help the students. We do have a pretty much full-time parapro in here. It's just a little bit that she's not. Okay, we're entering the office area, and we'll talk about some things that are historic. One of them is the original planting plan that we got from ArtSource. We found it, and PTO bought it for me. It's in the early 1900s, and if you notice, the girls' playground is quite different from the boys. But maybe the girls didn't play sports back then. Yeah. Cut, just a minute, cut. If you want me to play it or not. But I have a little schoolhouse that's a replica of Whittier. You can find that in the village, Country in the Village store at 30th and Walnut, in a little shopping center there. And I think they run close to $14 or $15 now. But they're available. I have a talking fish and some other things that resemble Whittier here. The light to light up my life. And my little calendar here, schoolhouse. The other thing I wanted to mention here, I have this picture of Fran and Grace. Grace was with Fran and I. We lost her last October, but she went to school here in 1907 to 13. I met her when she was 96, and she died just before she turned 98. And Fran and she and I did a lot together. I doubt if you can see it real well, but frame picture here where we used to have a storybook tree out on the corner, and after about 10 years it kind of rotted. We put it up at our 100th celebration, and Steve Weitzman is carving it, and it was really nice, but we don't have it no more. And then the bell tower was replaced. The original one blew off, and I took pictures of it going up and back on the building. And our 100th celebration birthday cake. And
this is a picture of Whittier School. Right there.
Right. That's where they're putting the thing right on there.
And this is a picture of you with all your children.
In the shoe, yes, I live in a shoe with all my children. These are my school rules. And a child needs love the most when they least deserve it. We'll skip my awards and move over there.
And I see you have some awards up here too,
A couple of them, but we don't need to talk about those too much.
Okay.
But it's nice to get them and know that you're appreciated.
Well, you sure deserve them.
This is an Afghan of historic places around Boulder, and Whittier's right on the top.
Oh my gosh.
And the historians and I go to many of these places and learn how to research history and learn more about Boulder and Whittier.
Now, where did you get this Afghan?
You can also buy it at the village, Country in the Village store where the little schoolhouses are.
Yes.
And they run probably $50-some.
Okay.
And I got the green because of Greenleaf Whittier.
Oh.
And Old Main
so
was the first
nice.
building on campus and housed all the students. Their first graduating class was the year Whittier was being built. They started in 1876 and their first graduating class was in 1882. Over here, I've done a lot of researching of principals. Our latest principal is Rick Christie. The third gal from the top was Mark Twain's third cousin, Clara Clemens Webster. I.A. Butler goes to my church and I see him a lot, and he has been really good about sharing some photos with us. So I wanted to mention him. There's a lot of them. We can go through all of them, but we probably don't need to. This is my old Victrola.
First I have to get Rick
Oh,
Christie, who's
yeah,
the
let's-
current.
Yeah.
Okay, and then your Victrola.
My Victrola is from 1917 Victrola. It still plays. We do crank it up once in a while. We have lots of records.
78s?
It's the big ones. Are they
Yeah.
70? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And there's one in there saying Polly Wally Doodle all day. One of the records. Okay. We have a table here that displays the IB program, and volunteers sign in here. And we have an IB table over here if people want to know more about the IB table information. We have brochures and information on it.
And then up on the wall.
The photographs on the wall is the all-school picture, which we do every year, and we'll be doing. It shows everybody. We use these fire escapes. We take out the risers. We take out chairs so that we can put the students in different levels to be sure and get them all. And we do that every year. These two pictures over here, at the far end, the black and white ones, is the original building.
I've got to stop it for a second.
Okay. No, before 1916,
Okay.
because that's when the first edition went on. And the bottom one is at the 100th celebration in 1982. Below it, we have John Greenleaf Whittier's Snowbound poem, his most famous. It's very long, so we won't read it. But the kids can come out and read it, and we had one student that even recited part of the poem at the Greenleaf Park dedication. On the, let's go ahead and finish over here.
Thank you, Polly.
Okay, over here, we have a pencil drawing of John Greenleaf Whittier done by Warren Lundquist, an art teacher that we had in the past. The photograph below it is where John Greenleaf Whittier lived most of his life and where he did a lot of his writing of poetry. He was born December 17th, 1807, and then he died September 7th, 1892. And down here, I happened to get an article of where he was born, the home that's here, where he lived most of his life, and then the gravesite of John Greenleaf Whittier. Photographs on either side of the big picture that we got reprints from Carnegie Library. The photograph in the middle, the painting was done by Warren Lundquist also of the school. The signs up above are welcome signs from different countries. The showcase down here we've had many years. I'm not sure what year it was purchased, but I have a lot of John Greenleaf Whittier's books, original books of poems, and some articles and different things that mean a lot that we put in the showcase. The other thing that I didn't show you over here, and there's about
That's your
17 languages.
17 languages on that bulletin board? Wow.
Yeah, there's 24 countries represented, I think it said, and 17 languages spoken here. Okay. On this wall over here is some of the historians I've worked with. I do not have the last 2 years because I'm having them framed at the present time. We show up there is the History Museum. We have the students interviewing Fran Bascom. And then we have below that the Hotel Boulder, Sylvia Pettum, giving us tours every year. In the middle here we have Heritage Center at CU. It's located in Maine, and Kay Oatmans does that tour. We have Art Source here. The kids learn how the framing is done. We do all our framing from there. And one of the gals giving the tour, and then in May every year we go to Chautauqua and talk a little bit about that and tour around. But it really, the kids are real interested on how to research history. Over on this wall we have Fran Bascom's family. This is Fran when she was 4, Fran when she was 8, and she's like 84, let's see, 1914, yeah, close to 84 or 5 there. This is her father, Arthur Ridgway, who is principal here, and her mother, Leora Ridgway, who taught music here in 23. And Fran, if you notice, all the way across, her smile's about the same. Her son went to school here, Phil, in the 40s, and that shows his classroom over there, his class. And their family's been with us the whole century because her father was in 1902 to 24 principal, and Fran has stayed with us all the way. And she donates money every year to something and really participates in my history club, and the kids love her. And she'll be 87 on May 24th. We'll all make birthday cards for her. During the second edition that went in 1950. So this edition was built in 1950. Our library over here was named after Jessie Fitzpatrick. She was a teacher during Arthur Ridgway's time, and she was then principal starting in 1924 to 46. And she has a plaque too, but it's behind some of our artwork there. On the bulletin board over there is all our volunteers this year that we've been putting up there, which we always welcome volunteers. You tell me when we're out. We built it at the 100th celebration.
And this is the library.
And we tried to have them structured outside especially to look like the old building, which they did, I think, a really good job. It's very pleasant in here. Our librarian is also our art teacher this year, which works out really nice, so we have them more full-time. But it's a really pleasant room to hold meetings or talk with the kids, read to them. And the library used to be where my office is, and I was upstairs. And this is the library.
A former principal.
Okay, we're going to go down the hallway here. And all of this was built in 1950. Oh, you might want to watch the kids.
Easy, buddy.
Okay, in here we have the gymnasium, and it's also the lunchroom. Programs are given in here. And this room is named after William Charles Julian, which we'll see his picture in a minute.
It's amazing the transformation in here when there are family nights or even at lunch when all the tables are out.
Right. And then change it back into a room for the physical education classes.
Yeah.
We just kind of rearrange it, and we're going to be having a 4th, 5th grade program, the 24th, 25th, and graduation, and we're going to have a PTO potluck night.
Oh.
That's coming up.
Can't miss that.
No. Okay. This room is where we have the teacher lounge. This week is Teacher Appreciation Week, so we have flowers on the tables. We've had food. and kind of celebrating the neat teachers we have this week.
That's nice.
Okay, let's get a show William Charles Julian over here. He was a custodian that was well liked, so they named this room after him, the gymnasium. And he was custodian at Whittier from 1933 to 54. And usually you don't have anybody staying quite that long for custodians. Okay, on down this hall.
Here's one of the.
Oops.
Are we done?
Okay, I'm just trying to get the attitude
Oh.
of the month.
Yeah. We have each month one of the IB attitudes, and the kids do kids assemblies, doing either skits or saying something about it so that the kids understand the attitude that we're studying that month.
Okay.
And that's all a part of the IB.
Okay, I'm going to click.
Is it on?
Yes.
This is first grade room. It's Cindy Bigelow, Barb Koshio's room. They job share. And Barb is also here the rest of the week in the library or the lunchroom. Cindy stays home Monday and Tuesday and is a mother.
Yes, I am. Thank you, Molly.
Yes.
These are my child's teachers. Aren't they beautiful?
We're great.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Thanks for visiting.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Okay. We're going to go down to the other first grade classroom and kindergarten. This is another one of the benches we have for parents to sit on in this hallway. Let's see if we can get it. This is Jen Havlick's first grade classroom. Jenny next year will be teaching second grade, and we'll have a new teacher in here.
Nice room.
Fran and I have talked to quite a few of the classes. Okay. And this room is our kindergarten.
Do you have just the one kindergarten?
We have one kindergarten room, but we have an AM and a PM kindergarten.
Oh.
The second half of the day, if parents wish to have the kids take in kindergarten enrichment, they can stay all day and have lunch. Some choose just to let the child stay half a day, and they spend the other half with their parents. But the majority of them do stay all day. We've had 2 teachers in here this year. Morning, Lori Lundstead. Afternoon, Mary McDaniel. Okay, you can probably stop in a minute. Mary playground up here. In the portable, which came to Whittier in 1990. We've needed kind of an extra room, and this year it's the ESL room, English as a Second Language, for all these kids that come from other countries that need that extra help in English. Lauren Hoyt is full-time. She has won several awards. She teaches at universities in the summer, very good. Judy Gilligan's part-time, but she also does some literacy for us to get a little more time at Whittier. So we have a full and a half-time person in here. And they're very good teachers. And like I say, Lauren has won several awards, which has been really great. Better lock her door. Gotta be careful with those stairs. Yeah, if you want to wait just a minute, you hold the mic. I'm gonna lock her door.
The smell out here, there must be lilacs.
Okay, we're going to go to our right and look at our outdoor classroom. Our outdoor classroom came in summer of '99. And one of our kindergarten enrichment teachers wrote a grant to Lafarge, and we were able to get this really nice outdoor classroom. The teachers enjoy bringing their classes out here.
Oh, that's great.
So we have to have permission. Right now it's locked, but you can see in the design we have a snake and some rocks where the children sit. And there's also a little place over here that the teachers can talk to the students.
Wow,
And we have vines growing up the back that'll soon be over the top. And we've put in some trees. And the History Club has put in one of the trees and some of the plants.
Wonderful.
It's really nice. They love coming out here and having classes. We're going to go around. First grades take care of this back area. They're kids with the plants and the flowers. The lilacs, I think, were already here, but they add to the garden of the first graders.
Mm-hmm.
They're very beautiful, and I love the smell of them. Lots of them. Oh, that smells good.
Oh, yeah.
So we're in back of the first grade classrooms now, and I think they've done really well with their garden. Irises.
Irises.
And then they said they had planted spinach and a few other things, so there's some food out here too. Looks like I see onions there, isn't it? Or chives or something? Or is it?
Maybe over here. Yes.
Okay.
Here we go. There's some little plants in there. I can see them coming up. See right there?
Right. And they'll be coming up and getting much taller pretty soon.
And then here's the school.
Did I hear a holler? Here's the school, and that's the part of 1916, straightforward, and this is 1950.
Awesome.
Awesome. We're going to go in the back way so we can get to the basement areas. Back here you will see our teacher parking lot. I don't know how interesting that is, but
And someone in the future will be watching this, and they'll say, "Look at those cars."
the house on the corner is one of the houses Landmarks Board shows. It might be landmarked, I'm not positive, but it's was owned by Mrs. Anderson, and her daughters still live there.
Oh, that's a wonderful house.
Mm-hmm. It's real nice in front.
And there's the polymobile.
That's my mobile. Is it in the video?
It's in the video.
The polymobile. Okay, we're entering the back staircase from the walkway into the teachers come in from the parking lot. And we're going to go to the basement and see some of the art, music, and this part is still 1916.
And this is where the Y program is.
Right, the before and after school Y program is down here. Right now they're outside, it's so nice. And at the bottom of these stairs, we have an office for our literacy teachers, but also our speech teacher uses that room. It's kind of like an office. Usually they work with the children in the classrooms.
Okay.
The literacy. K through 3 literacy, which has been at Whittier a couple of years now. And the Y room during the day is used by other specialists that need a room to meet in, which is room 22 right there. This is vocal music room. Faye Wienbauer teaches in this room. She used little Orff instruments with the kids. She's teaches at 2 schools, Mapleton and here. Students have music, I think, 2 or 3 times a week. But she's been with us several years and does a great job. The children love her. On the other side of the Y room, we have the art room. This is our art room. The Y uses it also before and after school. And Carol Pirto, who's a librarian, is also our art teacher this year. And we also have Family Resource has a pottery class on one after school, one night a week, and also a drawing and painting class for the students. And they come down here.
Lovely drawing.
Last 10 years, but this one big one I'm sure is much older.
Old one file cabinet. And now we're going into the dungeon, which is
This-
also an extension of the art room, I believe.
No, this is a teacher's supply room. The art
teacher's
room is
supply
kept
room.
in the art room.
Okay.
And I kind of order the materials for here
Uh-huh.
when there's enough budget.
Uh-huh.
But, and behind there is, in the back, is a custodial rooms.
Okay.
And here is a teacher's storeroom. They put things in here. We need to do a little cleaning probably in here.
So I wonder what this was like in
16.
Uh-huh.
I think we may be under the old part right now.
The 1882 part.
Yeah, I think so, at this end of it.
Mm-hmm.
It feels cooler down here.
Yes, very
Feels
cool.
good. In this other room over here is the boiler room.
Now, is this the 1882 boiler?
We had a coal furnace back in 1882. So, there we go. We had a coal furnace in 1882, but now we have the boiler room, and the heat comes from this now rather than the coal. The Whittier tour on tape. So see you, girls.
Those are some historians from yesterday. Okay.
I want to mention that our principal that we currently have has been with us 9 years, and he does a chess club, so he's involved with the students also, and I think that's very nice. My historians club, I usually take 8 students a year, and we go to many places like Hotel Boulder, Carnegie, Heritage Center, History Museum, Chautauqua, Hotel Boulder, and the kids learned more how to research and learn about their own school and the other places in Boulder. We do neighborhood tours, and I've done them for the students. Landmarks Board was nice enough to give me some photos and some information about some of the homes. So I've actually taken classrooms around on tours, and I do the historians, and I think it's good for them to see some of the unique homes we have in the neighborhood. Originally, or back a ways, the Colonial Danes gave us a plaque, and we had a celebration here in 1987, so that's been a while. And they gave us that plaque back then for Whittier. Whittier was originally called Pine Street School, and through correspondence with John Greenleaf Whittier in 1903, we changed the name to Whittier Elementary. Last fall, the historians from last year, we did the Greenleaf Park dedication, and we had a big part of it. 3 of my students read about John Greenleaf Whittier's life, and then several others held up photographs, and I talked, and Fran was with me. I take Fran everywhere I go, and she is a part of that, so that's really great. I think this probably concludes the tour, and I've really enjoyed doing it and doing this video for Historic Boulder. I hope I've shared enough, and if anybody ever wants a tour, I would be glad to show you around.
Holly,
Thank you.
thanks a million. You've been great.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to finish with an aerial, well, not an aerial view, but
view up to the top of the...
You can actually see the 1882 up there, too.
There's the 1882 sign. And up we go to the top of the school. It's just beautiful and a real treasure. Thank you so much. Hi, it's May 10th, 2001. This is Hope Perry for the Maria Rogers Oral History Program, the Carnegie Library History of Boulder. So this is Fran Bascom. She's been in Boulder since she was born, and this is the house she grew up in, and I would like you to introduce, this is Fran Bascom. Hi, Fran.
Hi.
It's so nice of you to let us interview you. I've listened to the tape, which the Carnegie has, and it's so interesting. I listened to it 3 times, and I visualized everything that you were talking about, and I couldn't wait to interview you on film. And I would just love to hear about your parents and how they happened to come to Boulder.
Oh, well, that goes back a long, long way, because Dad was born in Missouri, I think. I can't remember. But he moved up into eastern Colorado when he was a very young boy. And then from there came directly to Boulder. He immediately was into teaching and was at Whittier School.
Did he have a teaching degree from a university?
No, not to start out with. He had gone to Greeley, to the teachers. Well, they had education, teacher education there. And I don't know how long he spent. Every time I asked him, he changed the subject, so I gather that it was not a very long period of time that he was in school up there. But he did have some college work before he came here. But he went to school here. Both he and my mother were in school even when I was in school and college. They were still taking classes. And I don't know whether Dad actually ever got a degree. I'm sure he did, but he had plenty of experience teaching. And he was principal at Whittier School for many, many years.
Did he start off as principal at Whittier?
No. Casey, the superintendent of schools here in Boulder, was principal at Whittier before Dad took over down there. But he was there for quite a long time. And then he went from Whittier to the high school and taught math. He was head of the math department. And then he was assistant principal there. But actually his main interest when he was at the high school, he taught math and he was a good math teacher. But he also did a lot of work with the teams, and he was in the athletics mainly on getting their program straightened out so they knew when they were going to another school and so forth and so on, that type of thing. He wasn't a coach, but he was head of the math department in the high school.
Is that where you developed your love for athletics?
No, not necessarily. I was always interested in sports and dance and I took I had a lot of dance when I was growing up, and quite a few of us did. And we had a good time, and we did lots of things together. And then when I went into university, I went into physical education, majored in that, and became a physical ed teacher. But I also was a therapist. I was a physical therapist at Children's Hospital in Denver and had my training in that. So I was a little broader than that, so that I went in more into the therapeutic end of the teaching. And I taught in Longmont when I first started to teach, and then that was only a matter of a couple of years. Meantime, I had been teaching at the university, just one class or another class, and then I got a full-time job up there. And so I was teaching in the corrective department, therapeutic work. I had had my physical therapy training at Children's Hospital in Denver prior to that. So it was kind of an interesting transition into that, and I liked it. And I worked at the Children's Hospital for a year and came back and then taught at Longmont High School for 1 or 2 years, I'm not sure, I can't remember.
What year did you work at Children's Hospital?
1935, I think, 35, 37.
Did you live in Boulder at the time?
I lived at the hospital.
You lived at the hospital?
I lived at the nurses' home was the place where they parked all of us, and it was a brand new place, and it was a beautiful spot. And all of the nurses at Children's Hospital were housed there, and so were the therapists. And it was a very interesting place, and I was there for a little better than a year, and was a certified therapist by the time I got through there. And then I came back. They were getting, oh, I know what they were doing. They were building the pool at the Children's Hospital. And so I was to go back as the hydrotherapist.
Cool.
But I didn't. I came home, and they discovered I was sitting here, and they needed a physical education teacher over in Longmont, so I wound up teaching.
How did you get there each day? Did you have a car?
I lived over there.
Oh, you lived over there.
Oh, you didn't commute. Not to Longmont if you lived in Boulder.
Why not?
They wouldn't let you. You had to live on the premises.
Oh, you had to live
Absolutely.
in the city. Ah.
Absolutely.
Did Boulder and Denver have similar rules?
I don't know how many did, but Longmont was a little testy about it. And I lived right across from the high school, and lived with the Reinert family. And it was the Reinert was connected to the Reinert store here in Boulder. Mm-hmm. And they were cousins or maybe brothers. I have no idea. I don't remember. But at any rate, it was a good family to live with, and there were 3 of us that were all within a range of 10 years of each other. And so we had a good time there, living there.
Do you have memories of Boulder being a sleepy little town?
No, I don't. A lot of people have asked me that, and a lot of people have commented on things, and it was not that way from my eye at all. It was a very alive town, and always something to do, and a very active young people's groups around, and I think that, well, we had good junior highs, and the junior highs were comparatively new when I went in, because I went from grade school. I had a funny experience going to school because I started out, first grade was fine, second grade was boring, third grade was impossible, and they skipped me the fourth grade. So, I mean, they skipped me a grade ahead. Dad was principal at the school, and the third grade teacher went to him and she said, "Mr. Ridgway, you've got to do something about it. Frances needs more work than she's getting." And so they talked about it, and he finally agreed. He wasn't at all in favor of pushing me on, but they felt that I needed the challenge of being busy, and I guess maybe I did. At any rate, I went on to the fourth grade without going through the third grade, and everybody seemed to be happier about it, so I went on through there. And then I got into junior high, and it was fine. Went into high school, and I was bored. It wasn't enough to do. And I didn't shorten the period of time, but I sure didn't prolong it in high school. I was out of there and into college because I liked to teach, and I liked physical education. It was my field. And I had worked at Children's Hospital and was a therapist. And so with that background, I went into the public school system with working with handicapped kids, which I enjoyed and thoroughly enjoyed. And I started out teaching over in Longmont. I taught there for 2 years. Tried marriage out for a year.
Tried what?
Tried marriage out for a year. I was married for 1 year.
Oh.
And after, I don't think you can make it through.
So you were married for 1 year,
Uh-huh.
and you have a son.
I have a son, and
Does he live in Boulder?
yes, he and his wife live on the south side of town, and they're wonderful to me, and I love them dearly.
Are you a grandmother then?
Oh yes,
How many grandchildren do you have?
three, I think. I can't. Let's see. There's one girl, one boy. Maybe there's just the two. I don't keep up with them because they're not around here. I mean, they've gone their ways, but
Well, you have a lot of children over at Whittier.
I have lots of children
Yes.
all over. I taught at the university up here in the physical education department for 32 years.
Oh,
So I have lots of children.
yeah.
And fortunately, they come back and see me.
I'm so glad.
I have, every once in a while, somebody will call and say, "I didn't know you were still." I said, "No, I know you didn't know I was still around." And they'll come down and we'll have a good time talking about their college days, and because I was very active with them at the university. But again, I was in the physical education department and in the therapeutic end of it. So I was working with handicapped people all the way along.
That's wonderful.
But being a physical therapist and being a physical educator, it made a good combination of
Yes,
the two.
and I think your longevity is, and your great health is the result of all your physical exercise when
Well,
you were younger.
It's been that's been that way all along,
Mhm.
because my dad said to me one time, "You can do whatever you want to do as long as you stay active."
I think he was right.
And he was right. He felt very strongly about it.
How many people lived in Boulder when your family moved here?
Well, Mother grew up here.
She grew up here.
Yeah.
Was she born here?
No, she was born in Kansas. So was Dad.
Mm-hmm.
But both of them moved to Colorado very soon after that. And Dad started teaching here in the 1890s. And Mother came along. She was about 13 or 14 years younger than Dad. And so about the same length of time she was into teaching. Dad and Mother were married 19, I have to stop and think when.
Well, before 1914.
Well, it was 1913 when they were married.
They were married in 1914.
And I was born immediately, 9 months later. And, hello,
Well, it's Buddy.
this is Buddy, my dog.
Hey, Buddy.
And Buddy is, hello, goodbye. Says, I'd like to know what's going on, so I've got to go around.
What did your grandparents do for their occupation?
My grandfather, Paulson, that was Mother's father, was a minister. And my grandmother was the sweetest little homemaker ever happened. This was their house.
This was your grandparents'
Yes.
house? Oh my gosh.
And my mother, they came to live here when Mother was in high school. And there were 6, Joe, Phil, 4 girls and 2 boys.
All living in the house?
Uh-huh.
So there was 6 children in the house?
6 children and my grandfather and grandmother.
And the house is still standing?
Yeah,
It's a good house.
they bought the house.
Uh-huh.
And they raised the roof. That was the only thing they did. They raised the roof and put the windows in upstairs and made 3 bedrooms up there.
Okay.
And that took care of their sleeping arrangement.
Uh-huh.
And then they had the downstairs on that. And then when I came along into the picture, very shortly after that, my grandfather died before I was born. And that left grandmother alone in this house.
Mm-hmm.
And so Mother and Dad came back here. They were living down near Whittier School at that point. They had just for the 1 year, that was from the time they were married then. So within a year and a half after they were married, they were back here. And this became home. All of Mother's brothers and sisters were gone, and she was the only one left. And so she came back to be with grandmother. And I grew up with my grandmother.
That's wonderful.
She was a honey. And she and I had lots of fun together.
Were all the houses that are here now, were they here then?
Pretty muchly. That was a church across there, and that was, next to it was a 4-unit house, and was built that way. And there was another church up on the other corner, and then there was a church diagonally across from that. So there were 3 churches in this one block.
Was one of them the Swedish church?
Uh-huh.
You talked about that on your tape.
Yeah. There was a Swedish church. There was also another Swedish church up a block up the hill here.
Oh gosh.
And Presbyterian church, that was our church. And then there was the Baptist church was right up here on the corner. And then there was another church diagonally across from that. So lots of churches.
Lots of churches.
Loads of churches. And there were 2 more churches down the block here. So it was just surrounded by churches. And they were all different kinds of churches.
We're not very far from the first settlements in Boulder. I think they were down at Broadway and Pearl Street, weren't they?
Yeah. Pearl Street. Mother was the one that talked about that because she grew up here. And she grew up as a kid. Because they came into this house when there were all 6 kids were just growing up. And then all of them were married here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kids were married here and went on their merry way. And my grandfather died just before I was born. Then grandmother lived until I was 12 years old. And so I got to know her,
That's great.
Grandmother Powelson.
Are they buried in Columbia Cemetery?
They're buried in, what's the other one? Up the hill. Is that Columbia? What's the one that's over on 9th Street? Whatever. That wasn't the one.
I think that's the old Columbia Cemetery at 9th. And
Yeah, well, the other one wasn't Columbia. It had another name. That's where my folks are buried, and where my grandmother and grandfather are buried up there.
Did you raise your son in this house?
Yep. He grew up here.
It's been in the family a long time.
Yes, it was, because Mother was in high school, I think, when they moved here. And she had 2 younger brothers and 1 sister that was about the same age as she.
Did they move to Boulder and then move right into this house? Or
No.
did they live elsewhere?
No, they lived someplace else right at first. Oh, they lived down on Mapleton or Bluff, east of here. I don't know how long there, but they lived in this house, before the turn of the century, because they came here when the kids were still growing. And that's one reason when Grandfather looked at this house, he saw that he could raise the roof, make dormer windows upstairs, and he put 3 bedrooms in up there. And that's where the kids lived.
I wonder what he gave for it when he bought it.
Not very much, because I know my grandfather was a missionary minister. They did not get very much money.
Yeah.
And there were 6 kids in that family, 6 children.
So the dollar had to go a long way.
It had to go a long way. So I don't know other than that, but I know something about that. But all of the grandmother and grandfather Powelsons, all of the kids were married here.
In the house?
In the house.
Oh my. What memories.
Well, at that time, that's what was done.
Do you remember, they used to have May processions in Boulder. Are you familiar with that?
Oh, yeah.
Do you recall?
Not very much. I really don't. I don't recall too much about that. See, I was born 1914, so I was right smack in the middle of, or at the end of the war.
The beginning.
Well, we wound up, because what I can remember, the first things I could remember, were of the soldiers coming home.
Oh, yeah. That would be like 1917.
1917 and 18.
Yes, that must have been wonderful.
And Mother went back to teaching at that point.
She went back to teaching?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
She'd been a teacher, and I was 4. I was born in 1914. So in 1918, I'd been 4 years old. And she knew I'd be going to school, and they had a severe flu epidemic here in Boulder.
Oh.
And they lost some teachers
Oh, no.
in that, yeah. And Mother was called back, which she considered coming to teach, because she had been a teacher. And so she and Dad talked it over, and Dad was principal of the Whittier School at that particular point. And he said, sure, go ahead. So they got a housekeeper and who was at home for me, and my grandmother was still here, but they wouldn't go off without having somebody take over to take care of grandmother and take care of me.
Yeah.
So that happened when I was 4. That was 1918, and by 1920 I was in school.
Now you went to school just at the right time, because that's when the clothing started to change for females. So you didn't have to wear, and your mother probably didn't have to wear heavy clothing anymore because of so many petticoats.
You know,
and
I don't
dresses.
know. I can't remember too much about clothing. It was never a big problem in our family. Because I played outdoors all the time. I was a tomboy,
Oh, I was too.
and I had a good time outside. And it worked out fine.
Uh-huh.
That was the way it goes.
Have they widened the streets?
Oh, yes. Nothing was paved when I was growing up. It was all just absolute unpaved streets, and not too wide. But as we got more traffic and more cars, well, they began to do something about the roads, and
Were the roads made of brick?
no,
No. Asphalt, probably?
dirt.
Oh, yeah. But after that, when they first...
Well,
made the roads-
asphalt was the first thing. No, they didn't ever. Now, there were some brick roads in town, but not down in here. This stayed pretty much gravel until they paved it.
I believe that you said on your tape that someone in town had a still. Do you remember that? Someone was making whiskey.
Oh, there's lots of whiskey being made.
There was?
Yeah. The whiskey was a way of life with a lot of people. And down in this area of town, we had quite a bit of liquor.
It was moonshine?
We didn't. Yeah, it was moonshine. We didn't have the liquor here because our family did not have it. But Dad was a teacher and Mother was a teacher, and neither of them believed in it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care a bit about it anyway.
Could you tell me about the ice house?
Yeah. The ice that was actually where they made ice.
How did they make ice?
Froze it.
So they had ice
Yeah.
making machinery?
They had certain kinds of ice making machinery, but they depended on air and a cooling effect, and the stuff would freeze. And that was the ice plant. The ice plant was down on 21st and Pearl, between Pearl and Spruce.
Would they then deliver the ice to your house?
Oh, yes.
So you had an ice box.
Yes.
I grew up in our family and we always called the fridge the ice box.
Well, before they had ice making machines, that's the way you did. They froze big slabs of it and cut it, and you had 50 pounds or 100 pounds delivered, and it was put in your ice chest. And then as long as it would hold ice, why, it would drip down below and you'd pitch out that, but it'd keep things cold in the refrigerator.
Did your grandmother do canning? Did she have a garden?
My dad had the garden. He was he took care of everything. Yes, grandmother did some canning. She had her own apartment in the house here. The back 2 rooms, well, it's my bedroom, and there was a room beyond that, which we dispensed with eventually, was her kitchen. And then my bedroom now, it was her living room. And that way she had her own apartment in the house.
That's lovely.
And as a child, I would go knock on the door to see if I could go visit with grandmother. And we had a good time doing that.
Did you have a morning warmer in your house?
Morning warmer.
A wood stove? In
We
the
had a
kitchen?
big wood stove right next to this. Not here, but on the other side of this. This, there's a piece of wood there that's fair size. What is it, 2 feet by 1 feet tall? And that was so that the heat from the stove on the other side would come in here.
Oh, is that what warmed the house?
Sure.
And would it warm the whole house pretty good?
Well, it warmed this room and that room, and the bedrooms weren't warmed, but you didn't need those warmed. You just went to bed when it got cold and covered up. And during the day, you closed that off if it was too cold.
Right.
And if it wasn't too cold, why, it took care of the extra heat from the, but we had a good fire. I mean, Dad was a good fire maker. But I used to get up in the morning. I loved to get up when he did. So I'd come down and watch him build the fire. And we had coal range in the kitchen. And that took care of those 2 rooms. And then grandmother, in the back 2 rooms, she had a little stove in there that took care of her 2 rooms. And the upstairs, you opened the door along in the late afternoon and let some of the heat go upstairs so it would be warm enough you could go to bed. And you got under the covers, and then it didn't make any difference.
Did somebody come around and deliver wood? Or would you have to go get it?
They delivered it. Out in the back, there are still the remainders of the woodshed. There are 3 compartments out there. The furthest one west was the privy. And by the time I came on the picture, we had indoor plumbing. But at first there was not indoor plumbing. So you went out to the bathroom and it was out there. And that was the far one. The next one to it was the coal shed. And that Dad would bring coal in for the 2 coal stoves for the heating. One here in the living room and the kitchen range. And then the other, we never did have a furnace. But it was all ranges, all coal stoves, until we had other kind of heat. But that's the way most everybody lived. And the coal was delivered, and one of the places outside was for the coal, one of it was for wood, and the other was for whatever was left over. And Dad raised chickens. So we had 100 chickens out there.
100 chickens?
Yeah. We started each year with 140 and ate our way through. That's what you did. You raised your chickens. We also raised rabbits.
Oh, for eating?
Mm-hmm. And so we had chicken and rabbit.
Did you have a root cellar? Did you require a root cellar?
No. I know what a root cellar was because our cellar could have been used that way. Because we depended on a lot of produce that came up in the garden and was taken care of that way. And Dad got the place where he didn't raise any, but he raised it for his neighbors in their yards. Then he'd bring some of it home.
Oh, good idea.
And that way he didn't have to take up the space in this yard, which he wanted to have as a play yard for me when I was growing up. So that was the way it was done.
Did your grandmother sew clothes?
You know, I don't remember my grandmother doing any sewing, but she probably did. Because she had 6 children.
So she probably had to.
She had to do plenty. And she was a tiny little lady.
I bet she could haul stuff too, couldn't she?
She could.
Yeah.
But I grew up being the sewer.
Really?
I sewed for my mother and I sewed some stuff for grandmother too.
Oh.
I liked to sew and it was fun, and I learned to sew when I was growing up, and so I did a lot of it.
Do you have any of your grandmother's clothing?
No. No. No, that was all given away when she died. We've always turned anything of that sort was be turned over to people that could use it. And
Yes, it sounds to me like your family, your parents, your grandparents have all been in the service of the community.
my grandfather was a minister and very active, and grandmother was a minister's wife
That's awesome.
and also very active. And mother and dad sang in the Presbyterian church for years. And I sang in the Methodist church.
Do you like to sing?
Yeah. Well, that was vocal music was her field. And I think mother thought I was going into music. I wound up going into physical education, and I think she was a little surprised and horrified momentarily. But she got over it.
Yeah, you surprised her.
I pleased my dad, and he thought it was great I was going into physical education.
Your dad was quite a guy.
Yeah, he was.
Quite a guy, from what I hear.
Yeah,
Would you like to give us a short tour of your house?
sure.
Okay, I'm going to stop this.
Yeah, I don't think you want to carry that around with you. The refrigerator didn't get to come in until we got rid of the other stove. Because we had a coal range was there.
Let me get back behind
Yeah.
you so I can see where you're pointing.
Take that thing off and throw it on the floor. That's yours, bud, and I put it up there.
So your wood stove was over there?
Wood stove was on this
Mm-hmm.
wall.
Mm-hmm.
And actually it's more back toward that because I think there's a water heater in there now, and I can't remember where it was there because the stove was right next to the water heater.
Okay.
And otherwise this is pretty much the same thing.
You want to look outside and
Yeah.
show me where the,
Well, we'll go outside.
okay.
That's the easiest thing to do out here. Okay? At one point, there was one, when grandmother was alive, there was one more room out here, which we took down. Because she had a kitchen that was behind this, and then her living room was where my bedroom is now.
Okay. And we're at the corner of Spruce and 16th or
17th and Spruce.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't, he won't like it. All right. Let's come on out here. We'll close him in, and then he'll know where to go. You just say no, and you come. Buddy, you stay out. You stay. This garage has been here from the time the place was built. And it was a horse carriage house.
And there's 3 doors you're talking about.
Yep. The
Did you see me, Grandma?
Yeah. Where's Jessie? Jessie, stay back, please.
this has not changed a tremendous amount. In some ways it's very changed, because at the back here, that's always been the garage. It was the horse carriage house, and I'll open the door and you can see
Okay.
what I'm talking about.
You want to do that?
Sure.
And when was your house built?
Probably in the 1870s sometime.
Oh.
I met the 2 girls, or 2 women.
They had lived in it before you?
Yeah, it was built by their folks. I wanted to see that I could.
There's the ceiling, and that's made out of, looks like
Wood.
Yeah.
Yep, it's wood. And
And the beams.
the beams are still up there. And that is what was left of the upstairs. I mean, of the.
Oh, it was a 2-story.
It was they stored stuff up there.
Uh-huh.
We'll go out here because this way, oh yeah, the dog's all right. I wanted to be sure he was closed in.
Yeah, we're down to 2 minutes on our tape.
All right. You can still see where they put the stuff in the barn,
Yes.
because that was the barn loft.
Oh, wow. This is great.
Now be careful, don't just run around because the cars come through here in a hurry. She's gonna look.
Well, Fran, I want to thank you for letting us come and interview you. It was
Well.
terrific, and you're great. You're quite a trooper. You come from a wonderful family, and I'm really proud and pleased that you let us come and visit you today.
Well, I'll be 86 in a couple more weeks.
Well, I'll come see you. Thank you so much from the
Yeah.
Carnegie Library.
You're so welcome.